the loop wing Mayfly emerger. In the usual way, we'll start at the eye and work the thread all the way down the shank this time. This does take a little while. I ask you to bear with me. This is for the benefit of the beginners amongst you. And notice here I'm supporting the hook as I wind. This is to prevent putting too much stress on the bend of the hook where it's attached to the vise. Now we're down at the barb of the hook. We'll return, again touching turns. Any bad ones, just undo them and there, just check them and replace them. We're going to go halfway back along the shank, ready to put in the pheasant tail for the tail and the body. As we do, a short explanation on the pheasant tail. It is longer one side than the other. The right hand side is shorter than the left hand side, and it's the left hand side that we're going to use for this particular job. So select about 12 or 15 fibres, pull them out roughly at right angles so that it evens up the tips, and twitch them off. Now we can offer them up for length, roughly a hook shank length, catch them in the middle of the shank with a couple of turns, and then carry on binding back towards the bend. Notice I'm holding the fibres under tension, which keeps them on top of the hook. All the way back to the barb position, like so. Now separate roughly half the bunch of fibres and twitch them off. And now we'll wind them down the shank to the point of the tail there. Useful using the tip of your finger there. Catch them in, about half a dozen good tight turns. And now we'll spiral that up as a rib. And a couple of turns in front. Now in with the very tips of your scissors and snip them off. Now we're going to prepare a summer duck feather. You can use dyed mallard, no problem. Just a speckly feather to give the speckly effect of the wings from a mayfly. Just on the top of the wing as we make it. You'll see in a minute. We just prepare and remove the softer flue down at the bottom. So we're using the top half of the feather only. And now with the scissors, very carefully go in with the very tips and just snip the stem out. I just need to support it, there we go. Snip, remove it, and there's the prepared feather ready. Now we tie that in with the tips pointing over the front of the fly on top of the hook. One turn and slide, keeping the tension on the thread all the time. Be careful, the first one you try it'll slide straight through. It's just a matter of getting a feel for it. 2 or 3 turns there, tight up against the body. Now remove the waist tips there. Again, tip of the scissors always. Now we want a couple of olive CdeC feathers, good bushy ones. Now the first one goes in and it's laid on the far side of the top. There we go, top quadrant if you like, far side. A couple of turns to hold it in place after it's slid through. And we'll do the same this one. We'll tie in on this side of the hook, top quadrant, and slide it through again. 2, maybe 3 turns there at the most, just to set it. Now bind all the waist down. And then we'll snip off the tips There we go. Now bind the tips down almost to the eye and then come back 3 or 4 turns. Now we take some Superfine and tease out a web of dubbing to use. You need to be sparing with this stuff, otherwise it builds up. Now we'll just twist it on anti-clockwise. Be careful not to trap any bits of CdeC from the wing. They fly all over the place when you're working with them. There we go. And now build back to the front of the body, then work forwards. Need a little bit more dubbing. Maintain the anti-clockwise twist. There we go. Takes a little bit of practice to use this dubbing. It's inclined to build up if you're not careful, so just work it gently. And away we go again. Finish forming the thorax. Keep it tight. And back again. There we go. Now we'll form the wing. Fold the near one forward and tie it in on just over the far side of the top. Again, far quadrant if you like, far top quadrant. Slide it through to the length you want. Just a couple of turns when you're doing this, otherwise it'll jam. Now another turn to tighten up. Now the far wing comes across onto the near side top quadrant. Again, just 2 turns and then slide it so that they're even. Can't keep my hands out of the way, but there we go. And just bind them down good and tight. Now we'll snip off the waist. A few more, there we go. And this one, do them one at a time, get a neater job. And again, just 2 or 3 more turns to set them in place, build back, pull over the summer duck feather on top now, right on top, dead center. Couple of turns maximum. I'm holding that thread under tension so that it doesn't slide forward with my left fingers. There we go. Just snug it in, pulled over the top of the CdeC loop. And again, a couple of securing turns. In with the point of the scissors, snip off, and we've nearly done. Now just neaten up the head, support everything as you do. There we go. And the usual 4-turn whip. Into the needle and slide out. There we go. Now just slice off the thread. Spot of head cement or varnish. That's showing up a little stray fibre of CdeC. They appear from nowhere when you're working with this stuff. So we'll just snip that one off. There we go. And there's your fly finished. It's a great fly on cool days when the mayfly is taking a long time to hatch.